So, good evening, everybody. Glad you turned out here for this Discord call to go over going to the gym 101 presentation. This is the fourth or fifth time I've done this kind of panel. I've done this panel, so hopefully I have the kinks worked out at this point. But uh, maybe I haven't recorded it before, so we'll see how this goes. I've got a lot to cover, so let's not waste time and dive in. Please hold questions until the end. Hopefully, we'll have some times for questions, or you can follow up afterwards. Uh, now, I'm sure many of you came into 2026 with New Year's resolutions. Was going to be the year you got in shape. Going to start hitting the gym. Going to get that summer pod this year. Be ready for Anthrocon or Megaplex, all fit and healthy. Ready to survive that fursuit parade. Then January came, and things got stressful again. And the reality is your year ended up looking a bit more like this. I've been there. It's hard out there, and moreover, I don't think it's your fault. Working out is hard, and gyms can be intimidating. There's a lot of stuff to do. In my experience, one of the biggest reasons people fail at this year after year is because nobody tells them what they're supposed to be doing, and they don't have a real plan to get in shape. That's why I put this presentation together to try and give you all the information and resources you need to start getting in shape. Uh, this presentation will be targeted at complete beginners, people who have no or minimal experience working out, and giving you the basic tools for how to put together a workout plan for strength and resistance training. Important caveat here, this will not be geared towards strength training, or this will be geared towards strength training and not cardio. I would have liked to include some more info about endurance training here, but I don't have the time, and I'm still sort of practicing that myself to see what does and doesn't work. Uh, I do hope more experienced lifters will still get something out of this, but will be geared for a pretty basic level. Now, working out isn't necessarily complicated, but I can't possibly cover every possible question in 1 hour. If you'd like to learn more, I have, or again, you can reach out to me on the server and ask questions in the question and answer board, and I will get back to you. Uh, as for myself, I've been working out about 4 years now, coincidentally about the same time I joined the furry fandom. Those who've encountered me before probably remember me as being the first beaver furry they've encountered. It's a rare there's a few others out there, but it's a rare species. And one thing I'd like to make clear at the outset is that I have no personal trainer certification, I have no physical therapy certification, and I'm not a doctor. I'm just a person who started taking his health seriously and did research to figure out how. Also, I'd like to make clear that I can't draw, and all the furry art here you see will be from artists I commissioned, and you'll see the relevant credits. I have a few different OCs that'll show up throughout, but Beaver here is my main Sona. Stuff I'm saying will be coming from a variety of evidence-backed sources. Chiefly, I have the position stands from the American College of Sports Medicine, as well as some hands-on personal training guidance from the likes of Mark Ripito or Alan Thrall. I'm not claiming to know everything, and there are guys who know way more about this stuff than I do, and definitely guys who can lift more than I do. Uh, but you don't need to know everything to get started. You just need to know a handful of very important things and do them well and do them consistently. Uh, one, yeah, one further thing, a little bit more on why you should be working out. Now you all decided to show up today, so I'm assuming you already know that it's good for you, but I'd like to give a little explanation of why. Uh, Per the current scientific research, resistance training, which is what we go to the gym for, has been shown to improve strength, bone health, hormone regulation, blood glucose regulation, and even cardio. Yes, cardio. And it helps manage all of these conditions, including some that I know plague the furry fandom, unfortunately. Uh, Plus, it can help you look like your persona. Maybe. Some physiques are more achievable than others. Uh, so why does this work? Think about it like this. Humans, or funny animals that dress and walk like humans, evolved as hunter-gatherers, walking many miles per day, carrying heavy loads, digging holes, making tools, and so on. So we were once physically active for many hours a day, and our bodies adapted to that load. Many mechanisms of our body are set up under the assumption that we are moving constantly. Uh, and in extant hunter-gatherer or otherwise traditional societies, groups of people who are still active like that, stuff like obesity, heart disease, arthritis, and other diseases of old age don't really exist, even in the people who do grow to old age. However, now many of us, myself included, sit around for the majority of the day. Going to the gym and doing specific exercises like weight training or cardio are a way to compensate for this and replicate the benefits of that activity in the modern world. One thing you'll hear a lot is that there's no shortcuts to getting in shape, and that's true in a way, but I would argue that working out is the shortcut. Rather than having to spend all day hunting a deer or doing backbreaking work on a farm, we can just go to uh, a nice climate-controlled gym and work out for a few hours, and there's no risk of being attacked by a lion or anything. It's a pretty good deal. Okay, I'll head off first question I get asked. Can I do body weight workouts at home? The answer is yes, but you probably won't. Sorry. I think we have one guy on the server who's consistent about it, somewhat consistent about it. Everyone else has dropped out fairly quickly. I have a program that I recommend. However, again, it's difficult to stay consistent. If you're asking to work out from home because it'll be easier or more convenient or cheaper, but unfortunately, it's not going to be something that's easy. It's something that will require some time and money and commitment to make happen. If you're just going to work out when it's convenient, then it will never be convenient. The most convenient way to work out is to not work out. Furthermore, home routines are more complicated. They don't work every muscle group evenly or effectively, and they're much more difficult to track and make progress on than weight training. So if we're going to a gym, let's talk about how to get you to a gym. First question is often, when should I go to the gym? Well, my first thought is soon. Don't wait months for it. Do it as soon as you, put in for Monday or this week. Don't dawdle. If I do my job right, you'll be super excited and motivated to start working out when we're finished. But but the longer you wait from here, the more likely you're gonna forget, and it's gonna get harder and it's gonna get harder. So I would recommend getting out to the gym, getting your plans together and getting out to the gym as soon as possible. Take your phone out, put a reminder in your calendar. Take a few days to plan, but as soon as possible as I'd recommend. Uh, okay, you're going to go to the gym. What time should you go to the gym? The answer, and this will come up a fair number of times, is the time you'll actually go. Some guys are super motivated and able to get up at 4 a.m., show up for a hard session before work. Me, not so much. So I go after work. It's more crowded. That's a trade-off I make. If you have a choice of times, then go to the gym at the time you feel the best and that you'll get the best lift in, so that you can move the most weight and get the best possible workout. That's how you make the most progress. Okay, so we've made time to go to the gym. Now you gotta find a gym. Yeah, now you gotta find a gym. What gym should I go to? As with the question of what time to go to, the first answer is whichever gym you will actually go to. If you're like me and have the world's worst apartment gym, look, it's not optimal, but we can work with it if you stay committed. There's a lot of different ways to set up exercises. That said, if you have a crappy gym setup, workouts are gonna be a struggle. You're gonna lose motivation. They may take longer, not work everything as effectively. So unless you have access to a real good home gym, I would recommend getting out to a commercial gym if at all possible. There's a lot of different gyms out there, ranging from massive 3-story lifestyle clubs to Planet Fitness and strip mall, and your experience is going to vary a lot depending on what you go to. I started working out in the Planet Fitness. It's a good option, cheap option if you're just starting out. It has the resources you have. They've started installing barbells now, so this is the next slide. So you can actually do the full set of workouts. Uh, what you look for in a gym, it needs to be open at the times you can actually go. 24-hour gyms are convenient, and it needs to have the equipment you'll need. Key divider is whether it has a barbell and a power rack. They're the things with the big 45-pound bars you see guys squatting and bench pressing with. Most gyms have dumbbells and cable machines, but previously Planet Fitness wouldn't carry them. Nowadays, they have been installing them, so that should be more common and easier. They aren't mandatory, but they do make a number of exercises easier, as we'll see later. So the other types of equipment you'll see are dumbbells, which are useful for a variety of free weight exercises like shoulder press, and uh, or cable machines, which again help vary your exercises and sort of let you get a different direction on the muscles. There's also a huge array of other machines, benches, ropes, balls, other stuff that may or may not be there. I think people see these and get overwhelmed by the options, but there is not a single one of them that is essential to getting in shape. Uh, After you've gotten a bit more experience, you can look around, see what might be useful, uh, but you can work every muscle group with some combination of barbell, dumbbell, and bench. Um, Beyond that, you don't really need much else at a gym besides a locker room to change in, I suppose. Gyms will advertise pools and saunas and tanning beds and heated towels scented with eucalyptus oil. And if you have the money for a fitness club like that, then knock yourself out, but you don't need any of it. I go to a gym in a strip mall between a Food Lion and a vape shop with two squat racks and one shower. It costs me less than 40 bucks a month, and it works just fine for me. Note, most gyms will lock you onto like a year-long plan at like 40 to 60 bucks a month, so watch out for that. If you use the gym regularly, it's a pretty good deal. Certainly, probably less than what guys spend on supplements or whatever. And it'll be a while before you'll hit the crossover point where it's cheaper to set up your own setup. Um, and yes, my gym's called Transform Fitness Gym, and it's the most obvious TF trigger I've ever seen. Look, I can't guarantee that going to the gym will turn you into your persona, but there is always a chance. Uh, so you found a gym. What do you need to do there? Well, first off, what do you need to bring? Answer starting out should be not very much. I would start with clothes. Despite what some furry artists would have you believe, most gyms do not allow you to work out nude. Just a t-shirt, or athletic shirt, pair of stretchy shorts, and a good pair of shoes. Shoes are the most important to get right here. I've seen too many idiots in the gym trying to lift in Crocs or flip-flops or what other insanity. Bringing proper shoes is a matter of safety and lifting performance. You want it to be closed-toed so you have some protection, and you want a hard, flat sole on them. A lot of guys will head to the gym in running shoes because that's the most athletic shoe they own. But they have round, squishy soles that, when you have 200 pounds on your back, are gonna wiggle around and make your legs unstable. So you can get trainers, cross trainers, those are good, or what I work in there is a pair of Chuck Taylors, which is sort of the traditional cheap option. Uh, some other good things are to bring are water bottle to stay hydrated, hand towel to wipe off the gym equipment. Please keep everything clean. Wipe off your own sweat there. Uh, and if you want to listen to music or just drown out the crappy gym music, then probably bring your phone and a pair of headphones. And you probably also will need to bring a notepad in order to track your workouts. We will cover that in a bit, but tracking your workouts is one of the most important things you can do. Okay, we've made it to the gym and are ready to work out. Let's get to the good stuff, how to actually work out. Now, I'm not going to prescribe you a specific program, tell you that you must do these exercises this many times, many times a week to gain muscle. I'm just going to give you the tools to evaluate a workout and let you choose or develop a lifting program that meets your needs and your goals and your resources available. So let's go to the most basic possible level. What people go to the gym to do is called resistance training, which is when you contract a muscle against some sort of load. This load is most commonly a weight being lifted against gravity. It can be a tension force like a resistance band, but those are advanced tools and I'll be ignoring them here. What we call an exercise or a lift is a movement pattern where you move the weight against a resistance up to a certain point, and then reverse the movement and return the weight back to the starting position. This is one repetition of the exercise, or as it's universally known, one rep. If you do multiple reps consecutively without any significant pause between them, this is called a set. This is part of the workout I've done previously. You can see the weights, sets, and reps that I'm planning to do. Screenshots from an app called Strong. I'll get into it later, but again, this is what it looks like to track your workouts, and this is what I want to, what you should be able to, or this is what you should have written down by the end of the workout. Okay, so why do we do this? Why does this work? What's happening is that you're creating a stimulus for your muscles to grow and adapt. When you load your muscles, they send out a complicated and surprisingly poorly understood set of signals that let the body know that, hey, we need some help over here. Muscle takes a lot of energy to maintain. Your body is not going to keep muscle around if it doesn't have to, because it's used to starving on the African savanna and it doesn't need to burn any more calories than it needs to. So your body gonna resist this. But if you consistently send signals that you're going to use those muscles, your body will free up the resources and allow you to grow them. This brings me to another point, which is how hard you should train. You should not be deadlifting the pink weights, or you should not be deadlifting the pink weights that you can lift with one finger. That's not going to do anything. You need to be working a little bit harder and pushing a little bit harder there. Uh, we're going to target 5 to 12 reps and weight heavy enough that you're 2 or 3 reps away from failure on your last rep. Okay, what's failure? It's when you can't do another rep of a movement with proper form, not because you're too tired, not because your muscles are too sore to continue, but because your muscles are too fatigued to physically be able to perform another rep, no matter how much your training partner's screaming at you to do it. You can't know what it feels like if you don't try it, but if you keep continually upping the weight on your lifts, you will eventually learn what it feels like. So this is what a set looks like. At the start of your first set, it's challenging, but pretty straightforward. You feel confident in this. After a few reps, it starts getting a little bit harder. You start pushing, and start wondering, do I really have it in me for the next rep? This is probably where you ought to stop, and it should be around or between 5 and 12 reps is what I'd say. It depends on exercise a bit. So if you're targeting 8 reps, then you should be getting close to failure at 8 reps. Now, I don't recommend getting all the way to failure. That, especially as a beginner, it's liable to hurt yourself, and there's no evidence that it helps helps you make progress faster. But you do need to learn to push yourself past what's easy or comfortable into genuinely challenging lifts. Wish I could go into more detail on why this all works. That's to do with the chain or the order that muscle fibers are activated in. So you get close to failure, more muscle fibers are engaged in the lift. But we'll stay out of the physiology here and move on to exercise basics. There we go. Exercise basics. Okay, so we know why we're doing it. Let's get to showing you how to lift weights. First, you'll want to warm up. How do you warm up? This one gets asked a lot, and people get very weird about warm-ups for some reason. A lot of these Hollywood workouts seem to have like 30 minutes of warm-up exercises that would leave me too exhausted to actually work out. Warming up is important, but it's also simple. If you do like, if you do like 3 to 5 minutes of easy cardio, like speed jogging on a treadmill, mild elliptical exercise bike, jump rope for a bit maybe, get your heart rate up, warm up your body. The key here, don't tire yourself out doing this. If you need to be fresh for your big lifts, if you're gasping for air, you're not going to lift very well. Then, before each lift, do one set of 8 to 12 reps of the lift at half the weight of your main sets, with exactly the same form and tempo you would use if you were using the heavy weights. This will allow you to practice your form on the motion and loosen up specific muscles you need for that lift and reveal any pain or discomfort that may indicate you hurt yourself if you put the load on for full weight. It's been a few times where I did my warm-up sets and found there was some muscle or ligament that was sore that I didn't realize, and I realized I should not go ahead with the full lift that day and just do something else. On a heavier lift, you can do a few more sets at different intervals. It doesn't have to be half every time. What you need to get ready. You can see my warm-up sets are logged here in the training log. Do not skip this step. You don't want to pull a muscle with 700 pounds or several hundred pounds on your back. But also don't go crazy so that you're too tired to do your work sets. The work sets are the 1 to 3 sets of 5 to 12 reps there that are doing that's the hard lift. Everything about your preparation should be geared towards having as good a work set as possible. You should not be taking away. So the warm up is to prepare for the work set. Do not make it an end goal to itself. And then that's it for warming up. You don't need to stretch. That's for after the lift. And you don't need to do like weird rotator cuff exercises unless physical therapist told you to. Just 1 or more sets at a lower weight. Now I mentioned proper form here. And what does that mean? It means using the correct movement pattern safely and at a moderate tempo. Form is going to vary from exercise to exercise, and you will need to investigate the form for the specific exercise you are doing. There is no end to resources on form, and I can point you to some higher Yeah, and I can point you to some higher quality guidance and exercises. If you need a starting point, you can check exrx.net, which has a blurb for every exercise under the sun, or read the guide in Strong app or whichever fitness app you happen to be using, Heavy, whatnot. Or you can go on YouTube, where there are roughly infinity tutorials available on every single exercise in history. Or you can talk to a personal trainer at the gym, or go to a workout clinic for in-person instruction. When I started my current gym, I just paid for one session to just basically do a check ride on my lifts, make sure I've got the correct form before I was good to go. Uh, yeah, if you have multiple people to give feedback, that would be ideal. However, if you don't have that, you can set up a camera and review your form that way. Send it to me, send it to a friend to go through that. There are a couple universal points on form that apply to all exercises, though. One is that you should be using a moderate tempo. Don't race through the exercise so fast you look like a wild man. You're going to hurt yourself. Nor do you need to go so slowly that your muscles are screaming in pain before you've hit the rep limit. You can go slow. In particular, control the speed on the negative. That's the eccentric portion of the lifts where you're lowering the weight, as opposed to concentric where you're raising it. So it'd be when the guy is lowering the weight onto his chest here. The eccentric can happen at the beginning of the lift, as in the squat or top of a bench press, or at the end. But in all cases, it's important to not just drop the weight or let it slam down, because you'll hurt yourself, and also even worse, you'll take away your gains, because that is part of what helps build muscle. So you also don't need to go insanely slow and take 10 seconds. There's programs that emphasize that sort of thing, but it's not clear that there's a huge benefit. Just be in control so you could stop it at any given time. Another point is that you're going to want to minimize movement that is not necessary to the lift. Brace body parts aren't needed, main one being your core. That's your abs and glutes. The squishy area at the middle of your body, that's your core. Squeeze them like you're about to take a punch, or if you're a singer, like you're, pushing your chest out, or pushing it out to get breath control. Doing that stabilizes your body and takes the motion so you're not shaking and wobbling, which kills your force output and risks injury. And make sure you're directing energy and attention towards moving the weight directly. It's, again, why I recommend getting proper shoes. You don't want to be wobbly out there. You may ask, if we're bracing our core, squeezing our abs tight, how do you breathe? And that's the funny part, you don't. Some say to inhale on the negative and exhale on the positive, and you can do that. Plenty of people do. But I can simplify it. Just breathe between the reps. You can hold your breath for the 3 seconds it'll take to complete a rep. It's fine. Trust me. And there's more we could talk about. It varies exercise to exercise and proper form, but these are some general guidelines. Let's cover the exercises you should be doing. The type of exercise I recommend is called compound exercises. These are exercises that involve multiple joint movements during execution, and therefore multiple muscle groups. So if you do a squat here, you're activating the quads, the glutes, and the back all in the same go, as well as a whole bunch of stuff like your abs or your calves. They're getting roped in as well. That's in contrast to an isolation exercise, which only works one muscle group at a time. So the leg extension on the machine, where you just kick your legs, have your legs and just bend your knee out, that's an isolation exercise. It only bends the knees and only uses the quadriceps. In general, we want to use exercises that use as much muscle mass simultaneously in one fluid motion as we can. The advantage to doing that is we can work more muscles in fewer exercises. So rather than having to do specific exercises to work the quads, the hips, and the back, and the calves, we can do a squat and hit a whole bunch of muscle groups in one go. It simplifies your workouts, and you don't have to do as many exercises. It also trains your muscles to work as a unit, which is what you usually do in everyday life. When you lift a couch, you are going to be doing something closer to a squat than to a leg extension. So compound exercises are the name of the game. Another characteristic I would recommend for people starting out is to learn on free weights. Now, free weights versus machines. Free weights are your barbells, dumbbells, logs, I guess, if you're beaver and roll that way. Now, free weights versus machines are a huge debate in lifting communities. There's a lot of guys who demonize them as evil and saying they'll lead to injury and all that stuff. And I don't want to say they're evil. Yeah, I don't want to say they're evil. They're not evil. They're a valid tool. I'm doing a few exercises on a machine in my routine right now. However, it is more useful to learn with free weights because you are not only training strength, but also your kinesthetic sense, understanding how to position and move your body in space. This is part of, I don't want to say balance necessarily, but it's training a more holistic system than just your muscle mass. Once you've learned that, you can go back to see how many see if there's machines that may be of use in your routine. Additionally, free weights are more flexible. Barbell is a barbell anywhere in America. It's always going to be the same weight, always going to be the same size. Whereas with machine, those vary a lot from machine to machine. Don't know what you're getting, may push you into bad form. It build up some bad habits at the start. So if you have a barbell, you can train and exercise anywhere there is a barbell. So I would recommend learning on free weights to start at least. Okay, so we're looking for compound free weight exercises. What exercises should we actually do? Now, up front, I'll say there are no mandatory exercises. To build a workout routine, you'll need to assemble a few different exercises which work every one of your major muscle groups. We'll go muscle group by muscle group, explain what they do, and briefly show how to work them. Get used to this guy, he will be our model for the day. All credit to Razor Reptile. But yeah, I'd like to emphasize there's no mandatory exercises. I think some are better than others, but we can work around any limitations you have. I'm confident. Let's start with your chest, or pectoral muscles, or pecs for short. They control bringing your arm forward and pushing things away from you. These are worked primarily in the gym, being via the bench press, where you lay on your back and push a set of either dumbbells or barbells away from yourself. It's a pretty classic lift, and the one you will always see somebody doing in the gym, like these guys here. It's two main types, barbell or dumbbell. Pick which works for you. Dumbbell's a bit more awkward to get in position on, but barbell has a safety issue where you might drop the bar on yourself. So if you do use a barbell bench, please use a spotter or set up safeties, or at least leave the clips off. This is what spotting looks like. You'll occasionally get asked to do that. Just gotta catch the weight for them. If you don't want to do bench press, there's others. There's push-ups, which is the beloved trip for people who want, or the beloved exercise of those who want to work out at home. Now they are a good exercise. They are just a bench press flipped upside down. However, they are not the only exercise. You need to do other exercises to get ripped. They are a chest exercise. The problem is you're gonna outgrow them pretty quickly, and they'll start being a cardio exercise or endurance exercise. But they are a starting point. When you progress that past that, you can do dips. Those are just push up tilted on side. Especially if you have an assisted dip machine, those will let you do a nice progression on them. We'll cover what that means in a bit. Next up, you aren't working your chest muscles without moving your shoulders. Brings me to the deltoids. You can't see those very well in here, so let me bring up a backup model here. Here is deltoids. They're actually the largest muscle in your upper body, but also the most complicated and easiest to injure if you're not careful. They're split into three parts. The front delt, which does pushing, middle delt, which raises things over your side, and then the rear delt, which does your pulling. These three control different movements and have their own specialized exercises. I'll just focus on one core shoulder exercises that use all three in some way, and that's the shoulder press. To do this, you take a weight, be it a barbell or dumbbell or log, I guess. Start at your shoulders and push it up over your head. Pretty safe, pretty straightforward. You can do it seated or standing. Just be sure you're lifting straight over your head because any angle will put you off balance here. And be careful with programming. Bench also works the front delt pretty hard. So if you have a chest day one day and then a shoulder day the next day and then another chest day or arm or whatnot, you may not let that muscle recover enough and overtrain it. Okay, next one's your back. Back has a whole suite of muscles layered on top of each other with names like trapezius and latissimus dorsi, which you can also see from the front if you flex. And then your spinal erectors, which you can see on the back there. I don't know how tails fit into all this. Spinal erectors can't pull on it, so they need to be their own thing. Furry anatomy is its own mystery. But yeah, anyway, all these muscles interact in complicated ways. But in general, your back muscles are responsible for pulling motions, either pulling yourself up, pulling something towards you, or pulling something off the ground. There's 3 back exercises that'll hit those 3 categories. Most famous is probably the humble pull-up, beloved by the calisthenics guys everywhere. The other home workout classic. If you have your hands over the bar, it's a pull-up. If you have them under the bar, it's a chin-up. Not a big deal which one you choose. You can also do a lat pull-down or on the cable station if you prefer. They work the latissimus dorsi, but generally not the broader back. Not as much the broader back, which brings us to there's your pull-down, which brings you to the row. That's when you take something that's in front of you and pull it towards you. That can be done by bending over and lifting either a barbell or dumbbells to your stomach, or you can do a dumbbell row on a bench, preserve your low back a bit, or you can use it on a cable machine, or you can do an inverted row with just your body weight if you're real precocious. Just grab something and pull it towards you. Mind the technique though, particularly on the barbell row. I see everyone do those wrong. Please check to make sure your back is straight and you're bringing the bar all the way to your belly button. Yeah, do a form check on that one. And then the final back exercise to talk about is the deadlift, which is the picking things up off the floor portion of the back exercises. Unlike the previous movements, you don't bend your arms during a deadlift. Rather, you start with your hips bent and extend them out straight. With this motion, you're working a set of muscles called the spinal erectors, which start at your hips and run up your spine all the way to your neck, acting like a big rope to keep your back straight as you pull the weight up. Working these contribute to back thickness, and they're one of the most important muscles when it comes to injury prevention and overall health. There we go. Where's my note sec? Yeah, there's a few variations you can do for the deadlifts. The rack pull will just focus on just the back without the leg portion, or Romanian deadlift, which we'll come back to with the hamstrings, but additionally work the lower back. Deadlift also works some other muscles, namely your legs. I'll lead off with your quadriceps and glutes, which are the biggest muscles in your body and can correspondingly lift the most weight of all your muscles. The flip side is that working out your legs is really hard, and it's exhausting, and it's a joke amongst gym guys that you always want to skip leg day, because the exercises are hard and the results aren't just your legs, everyone's impressed by arms. They're darn important though, because these are the muscles you will use to do the actual lifting when you want to lift things in real life. Lift with your legs, not your back, as they say. So your quads, so these work together to extend your hips, moving from a bent over position to one standing upright. And then your quads also extend your knees. Together, that lets you crouch down and then stand back up. This is called a squat, and it's a key exercise for your lower body. You can work the legs using a press machine, but a proper squat will train the legs very well and teach a lot of what I said earlier about core bracing and stabilization. I find it more physically comfortable myself. This is one that will take some practice. I would recommend reviewing some tutorials on it and having somebody else review your form or video to make sure you're going down far enough. This is actually a tricky but rewarding exercise. If you don't have access to a squat rack, though, because you do need some protection to make sure you don't crumple underneath the bar, there are some other quad exercises to work on. You can try split squats with dumbbells, though these are probably my least favorite exercise out of any I've ever tried. And then you can supplement that with a leg press on a sled machine, where you can pull some higher weights, even at a bit lower range of motion. So there's a few other options. There's lunges out there, and then leg extensions mentioned earlier. But yes, pushing something off with your legs, that works your quads and glutes. If your quadriceps are the leg pushing muscle, what's the leg pulling muscle? What's the back or bicep of your legs? That would be the hamstring. They have 2 roles, which is to work with your glutes to extend the hips when your legs are straight, or to bend your knee. So that gives you 2 variations in exercises. Romanian deadlifts again, where you keep your legs straight and lower your upper body to near the floor before rising back up. This exercise will stretch the heck out of your hamstrings. After doing them for like a month, I was able to touch my toes and beyond while stretching. It was one of the fastest changes I saw when I started working out, was how quickly I could touch my toes again. Relatedly, they will also make you more sore the next day than any other exercise, because it's generally a stretching motion that's what makes you sore, and these stretch the heck out of your hamstrings. If you don't want to do that or can't for whatever reason, leg curls are also an option that work the other side of it, by keeping your back fixed and pulling down with your legs. Both of them, yeah. So yeah, you can choose either one or do both of them as you see fit. That finishes out the core muscle groups. We can actually stop here. Nothing past this point, I would say, is required to be in overall shape because we've hit all the other muscle groups in one way or another with the by choosing compound exercises for the few ones. However, there's a lot of that you'll see people doing other exercises, other lifts to hit these other muscle groups. So let's cover them so you understand what's going on. We'll stick with legs at first and talk about the calves. That's the back of your lower leg. They get hit a bit during squats, but if you want to work them directly, then you do calf raises. Generally, try and get an elevated platform so that you have so you can drop down below and really stretch them out. That seems to be what works them the best. There's also theoretically shin muscles on the front of your lower leg. I've never seen a human being work these, so it's theoretically. Next up is going to be arms, which everyone knows and loves. Certainly the most popular exercise in the gym, and if someone asks you to flex, are you going to rip your shirt off and show them your really ripped back? No, you're going to show them your bicep. However, I would say a dedicated arm day is not necessary, because if you were paying attention to the upper body exercises, every single one of them required using your arms. If you have to bend your elbow, then you worked your arms muscles. However, I know you're going to want to do arms, so let's cover how to do them and what we're looking at here. Your upper arm's made of two big muscles, your triceps and your biceps. Triceps are on the back of your arm, and they make up most of the volume, actually. Every time you push something, you're working your triceps. You do them by doing either a chest exercise, the arm's kind of close to your body, that keeps the shoulders out of it. So bench press or dip. Or you can find something heavy and push it while keeping your shoulder in place, like a skull crusher here, or a cable push down, or overhead arm extension. Just, grab something and extend your elbow, and you're probably working triceps. Upper arm, yeah. The other muscle is your bicep, and that's the one responsible for pulling, as on pull-ups and rows. Key way to work out this muscle is, of course, the curl. Hope I don't have to explain it. Grab a barbell or dumbbell and lift it without moving your shoulders. Probably the most popular exercise out there because it's not very hard, but it's really not that important to overall fitness. That said, I do kind of recommend beginners work in some curls, not because they're really making you that much stronger, but because your biceps are almost certainly the first muscle you'll see grow. You barely use them in real life, in everyday life. So once you start lifting them, within about 2 months of lifting, I had people, not just me, but other people noticing that my arms looked bigger and that I could see tone there. That was huge for keeping me motivated to keep going to the gym because I was actually seeing concrete progress, like straight out the gate on biceps. So that's your biceps. Next up is abs, which, man, people can just not be normal about this muscle. Everyone wants the coveted six-pack. Everyone wants the coveted six-pack, and they think if you do endless planks or crunches, you'll get there. Well, I'm sorry, but six-packs aren't made in the gym. They're made in the kitchen. Every single one of you have a six-pack right now. It's just buried under a layer of fat if you can't see it. Your body likes to store fat on the stomach. It's low in the body, provides protection for your organs and guts. It's a good deal. So if you want to get a six-pack, you're going to have to lose weight. Making them bigger through training only has a marginal effect. However, your abs are the main stabilizing muscle in the body, so it makes some sense to train them. But for some odd reason, people think the rules I laid out earlier for all the other muscles just don't apply to abdominals. People do these elaborate routines with a ton of reps, or they do planks where you aren't doing a rep at all. This is not how we train any other muscle. I don't know why we treat abs this way. If you want to work abs, it's again 5 to 12 reps. That's your 2-3 reps from failure at the end. And you need to do a exercise that works them directly. That's going to be your crunches or your sit-ups. You need to bend the spine to specifically work abs. Sit-ups will technically work your hip flexors more than that, but in practice, you'd probably working abs with it too. Pick whichever you prefer. And if you want to add weight, you can change arm position or carry a dumbbell. Make sure that you're progressing on it as well. Okay, so that's all our exercises. there's more muscles you could theoretically talk about, but that's getting way in the weeds. So let's move on. Uh, how does this look all put together? Well, let's take every major muscle group we talked about and pick one exercise to work each of them. Uh, Write it down in a fitness tracking app or on a sheet of paper. Um, and that's your workout. So yeah, let's pick your exercise and write them down in the desired order, generally going from big muscles to little muscles. Uh, that's you do that because the exercises that involve big muscles also include the little muscles, and you don't want your big exercise to be limited because your little muscle is already exhausted. That's the reason for that. Uh, yeah, mark down a warm-up set and then 2 or 3 work sets. Don't feel you need to do a ton of sets. When I started lifting, I did just 1 work set of each exercise, and I still made progress every single workout, adding 5-10 pounds per workout, just doing 1 set. Recommend maybe a bit more than that just to practice the movement and let your body better adapt, but you don't need to be doing 5 sets and a half dozen variations of every exercise. Uh, Now, during the workout, you want to record the weights you used, how many sets you did, and how many reps you did during the set. You can download some apps for it. I personally use one called Strong. Some other guys use Heavy. That's getting much more popular on this server. Or you can just use a pen and paper if you want to, and don't want to be distracted by your phone. I cannot overstate how important this is. You need to accurately track every lift you did in the gym, because this is how you know when to increase your weight the next workout. All training programs require what is called progressive overload, which is consistently increasing the load that you use. Uh, so you're challenging your muscles every workout. I said that with each set, you'll want to do 5 to 12 reps of an exercise, stop when you're 2 or 3 reps from failure. Well, let's say you do dumbbell bench press. First workout, you can only do 6 reps with the 20-pound dumbbells before you start to feel your form break down a little bit. Next workout, you can do 10 reps. Then, yeah. Next rep, you can do 10 reps, no sweat. At this point, and then finally, you can do 12 reps. And at this point, you're kind of at the top of the range. Over 12 reps, you're like really training muscular endurance a bit more. It becomes a different sort of exercise. So the next workout, you'll want to move up to the 25-pound dumbbells. Probably won't be able to do 12 reps of that. Maybe 6 reps. It'll be hard. It'll be a challenge. But the cycle will repeat. Maybe next workout, you'll do 10 reps of the 25-pound dumbbells, get your way back up to 12, then you can move up to the 30-pound dumbbells. Now, this isn't the only way to do progressive overload, but it highlights the importance of tracking your workouts. When you're training, you want to be consistently pushing yourself every workout, consistently making sure you are making progress and lifting at the edge of what you are safely capable of. Eventually, you'll hit a plateau and need to lower the weights or implement training cycles or mess with your diet, but we can handle that once you get to the intermediate level. But right now, you won't get to that level if you're not tracking your workouts consistently, so that you know that you are making progress week to week. That is probably, if there's one takeaway, it would be track your workouts and continue to increase the load. Uh, all right, we're done lifting. Is there anything left? Okay, one option, stretching. I always stretch after my workouts, though I don't ever see anybody else doing it. Be sure to stretch after the workout, not before. Stretching hurts your force output, so it does limit you. But if you do stress, it's the same principle as lifting. Do a stretch that works every major muscle group that you touched in the exercise or in your workout. Do 2 or 3 sessions of holding it 5 to 10 seconds. Here's some examples. You can do most of them with just the door frame. Don't take forever on it, but I think it's a good tool. And then another thing people do after the workouts is cardio. But like I remember recommended not doing too much cardio before lifting, I wouldn't necessarily recommend too much afterwards either. You've just worked your muscles very hard. They need to recover. They probably don't need to be subject to a bunch of lactic acid and fatigue. For best muscle growth and cardio results, I'd recommend spacing your cardio as far away from your lifting as possible. So like Monday, do lifting. Tuesday, go for a run. Thursday or Wednesday, get back to the gym. Thursday, go biking, and so on. You can't, if there's no other time to do cardio, you can do it after lifting. Just don't do it before lifting. But for maximum recovery, just try and keep cardio and weightlifting as far separate. Okay, we're done with the workout finally. Now what? Uh, First thing I would recommend doing is taking a shower. If you've worked hard, you should have sweat. Now you're gonna stink. Also, a good time to take a shower, just unrelated, is at a furry convention. Just put that out there. So after you're done with your shower, next thing to do would be eat. Now, obviously, it could be another presentation and a half on diet, but the absolute basics to eating healthy and eating for muscle growth are pretty straightforward. There's three things with diet you really need to worry about. First one is your calories. Second one is your protein intake, and third one is the rest of nutrition, eating decent foods and whatnot. It's really that simple. It's just hard to do in a world where pizza and donuts exist. I understand the struggle. I've got candy somewhere around here. It's hard. Um, so, but yeah, let's go a bit more detail. First, total calorie intake. Every day you expend a certain number of calories in order to survive and maintain your current weight. You need to consume that number of calories if you to maintain that weight. If you eat fewer calories than what you burned, then you will lose weight. If you eat more calories than what you burned, you will gain weight. People want to make this more complicated than this, that you got to worry about metabolism and insulin levels and whatnot. The evidence is not there to support it. If you're not hitting the weight goals you want, you're going to have to be honest with yourself about what you're eating and if you're really eating as many calories as you think they are. I've talked with a number of guys who swear they're only eating 1,500 calories a day. Then you ask them what they ate and actually add it up, and it adds up to more than that. If you'd like to gain or lose weight, I would highly recommend tracking your calorie intake for some period of time. There's apps that can help with this. MyFitnessPal, I've used MyFitnessPal to lose weight. Other guys like Lose It. Last cut, I was on Chronometer, because that one has the barcode scanning for free at the moment. This comes down to personal preference, but take a week at least, carefully track everything you put into your body, don't eyeball it, get out the measuring cups and scales, and check the nutrition labels, make sure you really, really know how much you've been eating. And I say it works because over the summer, I dieted, and I put in the little calculator saying, what do I need to do to lose 2 pounds a week? And I was able to maintain a pace of losing 2 pounds a week. I got from 200 to about 180. I've come back up to about 185 now. I'll need to cut that back off once I get in the spring to try and improve mountain biking. But I can assure you that this will work if you are consistent about it, and may take some adjustment, but I assure you it will work as opposed to a lot of other diet claims out there. It's just really hard to execute. You also see that weight fluctuates day by day. That's just water weight from the amount of electrolytes and carbs and fluids I consumed. Don't panic. Trust the process. Over a matter of weeks, you can see the line goes down, even though I'm fluctuating like 2 or even 3 pounds on a daily basis. It's not that I'm doing anything wrong. That's just how it goes. Trust the process. Flip side of this, if you want to gain muscle, you'll probably want to do the opposite. Need a bit more to gain weight. Your body is not going to build muscle when it's starving. It's going to cut muscle. So if you're not overweight, I wouldn't recommend cutting immediately. Instead, focus on maybe building muscle. And that gets you to the next thing, which is your protein. One of the most common questions I'm asked is how much protein you need. For maximum, most efficient muscle gain, it is about 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body mass. That's the current scientific consensus. I have some questions about how well that research was done, but that's what we have right now. You can eat more if you want to, no problem. You can eat less if you want to. There's diminishing returns, though, in general. No, it's probably not bad for you. That's the protein quantity. Okay, so why do you need protein? Yeah, let's get back to that. It's what your muscles are made of. Let me get the numbers down here. So I was about 190 pounds. That would work out to 135 to 190 grams of protein, which is a lot. You got to make a concerted effort. My recommendation is generally plan 3 meals a day, 4 meals a day, and make sure to base each of them around a core protein source: eggs, meat, soy, beans, lentils, what have you. I find it's very hard to eat 180 grams of protein in one go, or to down that much of a shake. But if you spread it out through the day, it works out to, instead of 180 grams of protein, just trying to get 40 grams in this meal or 30 grams in this meal. And then you can add a protein shake as you see fit. Yeah, this is all because, yeah, protein is what your muscles are made of, so you're not going to grow more muscle than the protein you eat. However, your muscles, no matter how hard you work, are not going to grow that fast, so you don't need to grow completely insane amounts of protein. Just, you know, a deliberate amount, probably increase from where you're at naturally, but not an insane amount. Additionally, protein's pretty filling, so if you eat more protein, there's a good chance you'll just reduce calories and lose weight anyways, because, like, grilled chicken is going to be more filling than a comparable, you know, uh, bag of French fries or whatever. So, good increasing protein will probably improve your diet regardless. And the last bit is eating mostly real foods. I sort of got pipped by RFK Jr. on this. I assure you I'm not associated with that, and I was preaching this anyway. It's not a specific request, but let me explain what I mean. Um, if you open up the health section of any news site or any like health website, you'll see reference to all manner of these different things. There's like fiber, niacin, probiotics, flavonoid, oxalates, nitrates. And every single one of these substances, you can find an article saying it's either the elixir of life, or that you need to get and you need to get as much as possible, or that it's pure poison and you need to cut it from your diet entirely. And frequently, you can find both arguments for the same topic. Um, to all of that, I say, relax. The human body is a robust thing. It was designed, I mentioned the African savannah, we were designed to live there. They were not, eating super controlled diets out there. They ate what they found. If you're alive today, you've gotten enough essential nutrients to survive this far. You know what foods are good for you, your fruits, your vegetables, your whole grains, your lean meats, and you know what foods are bad for you. Your bags of chips and yeah, your sodas. You know what has nutrients in them. It's not to say to never eat junk food. I've eaten plenty. It's fine in moderation. But if you eat a varied selection of whole foods, you probably just don't need to stress about about all the specifics of vitamins and minerals and all these crazy things. It'll just get handled. These A lot of people have figured out how to feed themselves across this world and survive and thrive, so we can do it too without stressing too much. One sidebar here on supplements. Here is the complete list of supplements you need to be taking. Uh, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Don't. Hmm. Oh, there we go. So yeah. If they were. Yeah. If. Shut up. Cricket. If they were required, they wouldn't be called a supplement. The stuff that's required, we just call by its name, like food and water and exercise and sleep. Supplements are supposed to be supplemental to that. There are a few, a very small number, basically just caffeine and creatine, if I'm going to be really cynical, that have some beneficial effects, but we're talking maybe the last 5%, 3% here. I've covered the first 95%. Focus on that. I just bring this up because supplements are the most common scam in the fitness industry. Everyone you see is going to try and sell you one, and you can just ignore them. You don't need any of it. Next thing you'll need to do after leaving the gym is rest. Here's something counterintuitive. After you leave the gym, you have built no muscle. In fact, you're weaker than when you started, as your muscles are fatigued and possibly a bit damaged. All your muscle growth will occur during your rest days. Weightlifting is not like learning a language or learning to draw, where somebody who practices every day is going to make better progress than somebody who practices only every other day. Your muscles and your nervous systems need time to recover between workouts, so they can be near peak performance the next time you work out. And if you're not on steroids, the time to recover is going to be about 2 to 3 days, depending on muscle group. If you try to work out sooner than that, you'll start to do what's called overtrain, where your muscles can't work out effectively because they're not fully recovered. This gets back to what I said earlier. You want to get the best workout possible, and that means coming in as fresh as possible. Some guys just can't get their heads around this. They want to train, endless workouts every day of the week, so they got to get big now. But it's good news. You can work out 3 days a week, 1 hour workout, and get potentially better results than that. How many things can you get better results by working less hard? Not many. So you don't have to beat yourself up for taking a day off. That's what you're supposed to do. Take your rest days. Uh, Next thing you need to do is between your workouts is an important subset of resting, and that is sleeping. I won't spend too long here because we're running short on time, but sleeping is basically increases everything good health-wise and decreases everything bad. Uh, target 6 to 8 hours a night. If you're getting less than 6, you'll see your performance dip, I'd say. Ironically, the 8-hour thing is not actually based on any science. It was just like a labor slogan. They think it's more around 7 that's what's natural, so don't stress if it's specifically less than 8. But if you're, yeah, but generally aim for a bit more than 6 at least. Comes back to what I said with the workout, try and be the best condition to move the most weights, and part of that's just getting enough sleep. Okay, so we know how to rest. When do we head back to the gym? Soon, ideally. Flip side of needing to rest is that you also need to get back to the gym a few times a week. You'll need to get there week after week and not skip weeks at a time. There are 2 reasons for this. One is that once you get past the week off, your muscles are fully recovered, and your body will start sending the message, hey, we aren't using these muscles anymore. Time to start breaking them down. Now, don't panic about this. 1 or 2 weeks off will not kill your gains. But if you want to make steady progress, you'll want to be in the gym consistently. The other reason is soreness. I am not going to lie, after your first workout, you are going to be sore. This happened to every single person I know who has started working out. The reason is simple. Your muscles are not adapted to these movements. So when you start doing them, it's going to be like, what the heck? But the good news is, if you work out consistently, doing the same exercise at least once a week, your body will adapt and the soreness will go away. But if you start taking a break longer than a week, your body's going to start forgetting these movements, and you're going to be sore again once you restart. To be honest, this fact is one of the absolute biggest things that keeps me consistent in the gym. So many times I've not felt it, but I thought to myself, if I take a week off, it's going to really suck to get back into it. So just bite the bullet now and keep from getting sore. So, given we need 2 to 3 days to recover from a workout, we can figure out a basic workout program. Pick 3 days a week to do a full body program, and then rest and do cardio between them. Or if you prefer to do shorter workouts more often, you can split exercises into push-pull or upper-lower and work out 4 days a week. You won't get full body rest benefits, but individual muscle groups will get a break. I wouldn't recommend splitting further for a beginner for reasons that go back to what we said earlier. You want to focus on compound exercises to work a lot of muscle groups and push yourself hard onto them. If you're splitting like 1 day legs, 1 day arm, 1 day chest, 1 day back, you're going to do way too many isolated exercises that just aren't doing much for you at this stage of your fitness journey. Also, it's just going to take forever. So I recommend doing the same exercises multiple times a week. So in conclusion, what lifting program should you do? I won't give you one program, but any routines follow these basic principles I'm laying out here. Compound exercises covering all major muscle groups, 5 to 12 reps, 1 to 3 sets per exercise. Push yourself hard to within a few reps of failure, and provide a means of progression by increasing weight or number of reps, and then give yourself adequate rest so that you can recover. If your exercise program meets these requirements, I would say it will work for you. I can't give a routine that'll work for everyone for your equipment, ability, time, access to our current health. Reach out to me and I can, tailor one that suits your needs. But when looking for a workout program, look for these characteristics. So with that, what's the final question? How do you stay motivated, stick to it? It's probably the hardest question of the entire presentation. It's not one I have an easy answer for. For me, the biggest motivator was that the stuff I laid out here worked. And it worked quickly, to the point I was seeing solid progress of how much I could lift after a month, and seeing genuine improvements to musculature after 2 or 3 months. It's not like learning a language where you're in for like a long slog before you can even match up to a 6-year-old native speaker. For weight training, you can see up to half the total muscle gain you'll ever see in the first year. That first year can feel slow and frustrating in the process, but if you're not comparing yourself to big builders and just your own progress, you'll see that you were going up on every lift, almost every workout, and it's great. The other thing that helped me a lot was just packing my gym stuff the night before and taking it with me to work. If I already had my gym bag in the car, that was a lot of motivation to get to the gym before I got home, because at least for me, once I get home and my butt hits couch, my motivation to do much of anything goes out the window, let alone go to the gym. So, some other tools that are out there. One potential solution site I found called Stick. As a beaver, I approve of sticks, but you give them some money, and you only get to get the money back if you stick to your workout goals. I haven't tried it, but if you do need an accountability, if it sounds interesting, you need an accountability partner, I can hook you up. My own personal effort has been, of course, this server, where I've set up a little bot to try and track streaks, and you'll see that what I have with this tracking with that bot aligns to what I've taught here, where it's 3 workouts a week that it rewards you for. That's because that's what's effective for building muscle when you're starting out. Um, so yeah, I hope all of you enjoy the server so far. I feel like it's a good group. So yeah. So that's the basics of working out. We covered a lot, but don't worry if you don't remember it all. Well, that's a link to the fitness server that comes from my panel, but so you're already here. But yeah, we covered a lot. Let me know, or yeah, if you have any further questions, I'll take Q&A after this. I'll hang around for a bit, and of course, the question and answer channel still exists on the server. So yeah, don't be afraid to reach out. I check it a lot and respond a lot. So any questions you have, I will get back to you. So thank you. I hope this presentation will work well and it's helpful for you. And does anyone have any questions?